Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Islands of Insight. So, as I'm sitting here on the pause menu, I thought for a second here that my assumption that the I'm stuck button here, which I'm not going to click, was a way to get a hint in puzzles is almost certainly wrong, and that this I'm stuck button actually just respawns your character, I imagine, in the overworld. That would be my guess. We ran into some interesting twist. Since this game was originally released as a multiplayer only MMO game, it has a straight up statue shopkeeper that gives you daily quests, and doing these daily quests will give you extra shards to upgrade yourself. Now I suspect there's two ways this goes. It's either going to be there's way too many daily quests and you're going to have way more shards than you ever need, or there's going to be way too few if you want to unlock a bunch of customization of the character, which there is a lot of customization of the character, although none of it really looks good. In fact, the customization in which you can have any color basically for any of the hair and skin really just highlights how boring humans are naturally, and that they really only come in half a dozen shades of skin tones and half a dozen shades of hair color. So what we're doing is, a whole bunch of upgrades and customizations. Working our way around this island. We started here, and it took me an hour and a half to just kind of wander over here. So just this one island is potentially going to be 6 hours, and that's ignoring the center part, which I think might be a major difficult part anyways. And it seems to me like these teleports take you to separate islands to expand on that even more. And if this is 6 hours, then I would assume this much is 6 hours, this much is 6 hours, this much is 6 hours, maybe this much is slightly less than 6 hours, but you could generally guess we're looking at a 64-hour game or so. The map doesn't let you scroll and zoom in as much as I would like. That being said, if we just continue to make progress, I think we will solve puzzles fairly quickly. That being said, it is probably important to point out that some of this is also just not going to be attainable until we move the story forward and get our wings and ability to fly. And we know there's a skill that would have given me bonus for solving these puzzles without clicking incorrectly here. And what I would like is to be able to remap the keys a little bit. I'd like to be able to have to hold down the shift button to put down like black pieces and then white pieces. That really wouldn't help too much though. That I just need to either become really good about not messing up and hitting the wrong button and knowing which button does what. Left mouse click, right mouse click. It's probably not the best way. Here's a new kind of puzzle from, would be my guess, that we're supposed to get up at a certain point and find a pattern that we can view. Probably from up there. Meanwhile, let's do these puzzles. So don't make 4 in a row, which means that can't be 4 in a row, that can't be 4 in a row, that can't be 4 in a row, and that can't be 4 in a row. So that's a perfect solve. Don't make 4 in a row and connect all dark, which means that we are just going completely around in a circle like that. And then there's 2 ways we could solve this. We could put 1 black and then 1 white, but I think the general assumption here would be to just do 2 whites. Don't make 4 in a row by doing this. What would really help me here is if I had to drag pieces. That wouldn't be as efficient as far as entering these puzzles, but I'm not sure you really need that efficiency either. So these are the top pillars of insight and the core of what we're obviously working with. I would have to assume that these puzzles were made first. I also have to make an assumption here that the themes are going to be repeated in the same pillars, same rules, same concept, same goal. This would go 4 down that way, so we have to go this way, then we have to go this way, then we have to go this way, then we have to go this way. We can go that way, and then we have to go down this way, and this way, and this way. And undoing, let's see how far we can go back undoing things. Interesting. It let me change while I was dragging around, when I was definitely assuming that if I just clicked and dragged, it would only fill in the grays. We collected a new insight pattern near misses. View explanation. With forbidden patterns, try searching for near misses. They are 1 tile away, and fill in the other color. If a dark 4 in a row shape is forbidden, search for a dark 3 in a row shapes and color the 4th tile light. You can see another near miss shape in the example above. And they're referring to the tiles as light and dark instead of white and black. Which maybe that's a little unnecessary. Now, I had thought that insights were just going to be hints, and at the end of the game I was just going to use a bunch of hints to unlock everything. But apparently not. They're actual insights towards solving actual puzzles. That the collecting of the Mirabelle mechanic still is really broken. in my opinion. It really should have the character fly up in the sky and get a Mirabelle, or it should have collision detection, which it's not too crazy to demand that, so that the Mirabelle actually spawns in specific spots. And you could certainly have, it seems like you only get Mirabelles after doing the Pillars of Insight, so you could have tested a good location for all of them. This is going to be a tough one. You're basically going to have to be in the middle. Much smaller area. All these puzzles take up space, which is making the whole world a lot larger than it potentially would have been. So I want to get up there. And I question if I can do it. Let's see. Nope. Really aren't. With a double jump. And it's curved, so it bounced me back. So yeah, this is an example of an area that I don't think you really are going to be able to reach with just a double jump. Although maybe you can. Like every time I think you don't have a chance, it seems like there might be a chance. If we come up here, just do a single jump, walk over here. So that is the light motif puzzle, and it changes the appearance, but it doesn't completely eliminate the element. Most of these puzzles leave some remnant after you have solved them, but some of them definitely don't. And a lot of this is, I think, going to end up being fairly repetitive in that you're always going to want to reach somewhere high on the places or somewhere fairly low. My question here is, can I walk forward, hit that, and jump? Yes, I can. So we can do that and solve it quicker. Question is, can I hit that one? I don't have a lot of room to move forward. Yep. It definitely makes sense why the game actively said don't bother to try and collect all of the puzzles, because yeah, you're clearly going to get more abilities, and with those more abilities it's just going to get easier. I wonder if you're supposed to click through these rings by jumping up in the air. Nope, that's not what that is. This is not a character. New to the ephemeral, I must have been in a dreamless state. It could have lasted a moment or forever. It's all the same if I have never been alive. So, yeah, there's these lore giver things. It's, I guess, how you would best describe them. Now that outer ring, and then that inner ring, and you really have to just line up the angle and get the timing perfect. I think this is potentially our final goal. We're supposed to be going this way, but being distracted a little bit's not going to be a problem. Playing a little bit thoroughly. I do kind of question though whether the lore givers are ever going to say anything useful. That one's locked. Nope, I guess it isn't. I have no idea where I am now, though. So they have certainly made the situation. Okay. What if... It does just seem like there's a lot of options here. We could potentially just do that, and then that, and then that. Well, we can't do that either. This is like a way more difficult one in my book. So you can't do 3 black or 4 whites in a row. So that means that has to be white. And you can't do a checkerboard pattern. So inherently this has to be black. That has to be white. It can't be all white. So this has to be black. And so then that has to be white. Then we can't do 4 in a row, so that has to be black. And it can't be a checkerboard pattern, so seems like any one of these could be black, and that'll work. I don't know where I am now. We jumped. We were going this way, and we ran around to this way. That, I guess, is still the right direction. Maybe there's a real intentionality to this. You were supposed to find a chase sequence and have it take you to an area. Or maybe there's no real intentionality to it at all. And they're just supposed to do things. I don't think I can do any of this at the moment. Trans-universal proverb, those who seek without finding gain more than those who find without seeking. So I think all these puzzles are locked. Interesting. But obviously not every puzzle here is locked. You could certainly just sit here and click a bunch. There's a ring up there. See if there's anything else worth finding around the corner hidden. So the Egyptian theme definitely gives me the feeling that there's a level of importance to these temples. I don't know if there's always going to be something secret in each location, but it seems like there might be. Flung me up quite high. I haven't found a lot of these circles. Like, there's so many of them. Whoops. These are just emotes. I haven't found any of these circles lining up towards any other shape, so I have to assume there's just a ton of them floating around, and the move is to find them lining up into a ring. Yeah. Okay. And when you line them up, they start glowing. So that does give you a nice benefit of not really having to think that they might play a role in something else. Just get the very edge there on that. Definitely feels like there are certain areas too where certain types of puzzles show up. And so you kind of should know where to go to solve certain puzzles. Did those circles disappear after a while? I think they may have. Because I could have sworn they were right here before. So do these things just... yeah, they just disappear completely. They don't fade out or dissolve with any fancy animation. They just disappear. Although, that is better for just making decent progress towards things. Here we have a pattern. Let's see. 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. But if the pattern was a just horizontal reflection, then I'd have to change these, and I can't change those. Those are all locked in. So something is different here. Like, these rows do look like a reflection, so I would guess that that much is right. These rows, this row at the top, doesn't look like a reflection though. So there's got to be something else mathematical about this. So foresights are hints. That's why it's H for a hint. Insights are not hints. What if it was a rotation? Can't be a rotation either. This. Probably not going to get lucky and just guess it. My thought would be that does reflect that fairly well. Then how would the next part reflect? Are different rows doing different things? Is there any way that this could reflect? Well, this row, let's just take them as individual rows. This row, that looks right. This row, that looks right. This row looks like it could be white or black anyway, so I would say that's probably right. There. This row. Maybe that makes some sense to do that. Am I trying to just draw a picture here? One, two, up, 1, 2, up. 1, 2, 3. Let's just reset. This C is copied by 3 here and 1 here. So 3 here and 1 here of the opposite color. One, 2, 3, 4. you were supposed to do that. The weirdness here is that I still don't see how I would know that the pattern is any different. This is a 5-star difficulty. I think it makes sense to leave. I think there is an insight potentially I need to have that I have not had yet. And so we may find that the insights are absolutely necessary to solve later puzzles. Certainly there's a lot of puzzles that are straight up just locked. This is where we were before. So we didn't get sent too far away, really. And we should just check out what this is. See if we can find a green cube anywhere. The cursor doesn't change when you hover over a cube, so you can't just cheat like it's a hidden object. This looks like a giant version of the sphere puzzles. So once we power all of this up, I wouldn't be surprised if there are several hidden objects we are going to look for. I also wouldn't be surprised if there's actually several of these too, like way over there. That might be one also. And yeah, I don't see a red cube. Imagine this is the easy target. With the matchbox puzzles, there's likely always going to be an easier one to target, and then there's going to be a harder one to target. And if I could fly, I could probably get up there. The highest point is probably there, although that tree actually seems fairly high too. Can we walk on trees? Yes, we can to some extent. There's definitely still, I've already done that one, potentially a lot of work that you have to do to get the wings to unlock. Here we have one of these. I don't think I even really want to do any of these because these puzzles in particular. Oops. We fell out of the bubble, but that didn't retract the bubble. We know that there is a skill that we could unlock later to make doing these puzzles more easy. Although that really is also just a coward's way of thinking. I should just solve as many of these as possible to get as much upgrade shards as possible early on in the gameplay. It does highlight. I really need a table in front of me. if I'm going to play so much mouse and keyboard instead of balancing mouse and keyboard on my knees. Yeah, in pretty much every game, you want to level up very early. At least that's my desire. And inherently, that means you become either overpowered at some point, or the game is going to balance itself out, so leveling up doesn't even really matter. That's another possibility, certainly. I always have that desire that I want to be super overpowered and just one-shot kill enemies by the end of games. In this case, there is not going to be anything like that. The best case scenario is I'm just going to have a lot of movement tech. I'm not going to be fighting anybody, I'm pretty sure. Right, here we have another pattern. You know, it might very well make sense to seek out the Towers of Insight first, to get insights, to know what to do. I have no clue what I'm supposed to be doing. I see a 2, I see a 4, and I see a 5. As far as little snake shapes. 2 here, 2 here. That would imply 2 here. 1. 1, 1. And then 1, 1. Possibly 1 here. 3 here, possibly 1 here. No, there definitely should be something. Yeah, if I got this at this point, it would be just by cheating and brute force. I need to find the Tower of Insight, and I need to gain an insight. These puzzles that have rules we can actually follow. All light regions have 3 areas. That's a new rule. And all dark regions have 3 areas. So I think that means if we did that and that, that could have worked. But then once you start to try this, you can't put anything there. Clicking the wrong button here. You get different points for different types of puzzles too, I'm noticing. But it seems like it's fairly balanced based on just how much time you would spend solving that specific type of puzzle. Can I reach that? Where'd it go? There it is. Nope. There's gotta be at least some of these have to line up. And form a circle. Although it is possible that they form a circle when flying in the sky. Here we're back to finding the Oriole, who seems to teleport around, while the other ones seem to be kind of stationary lore givers. And technically this seems to be lore stationary also. I have claimed the unrest in the sky for now. I hope you will walk in my garden. The path is challenging, but essential to our purpose. Is there really a purpose to any of this? It is intriguing that there is a value here for what is effectively your perception. And that's true anytime you have puzzles like this, where it doesn't really matter if you're solving it for anyone else as much as it just matters that you are proving that you solved it for yourself. And that's where the witness imposes this loneliness in its experience, and that you are the only person on the island in the witness. And the Islands of Insight, the game I'm playing now, seems to actively be trying to contrast the witness by making it an MMO and saying that you can have this kind of experience without being alone. I'm not sure which one I personally would believe is more accurate as far as puzzle solvers, though. At a certain level, I kind of do expect puzzlers to be alone and in a video game form of solving puzzles. I kind of do expect it to be a lonelier experience. Clearly, these puzzles are designed to make you look towards the sky, though. Like every single element in action screams, look upward, anticipate the ability to fly. I don't think trees are going to go away, though, so I'm not 100% sure how you get to that area. This puzzle looks tricky, try using foresight. So the game is even encouraging me to use foresight this time. I kind of don't want to. We need to connect all the dark cells and we can't make a black pattern, so like, oh, it's not even gonna let me. I have to use foresight. The progress is correct. Now look at this tile. The light tile cannot go there. It must be a colored dark. Interesting. You should now be able to solve the rest. The foresight button will also identify if you made a mistake. So foresight is a hint system. I kind of figured that, and that's not super surprising. I assume it charges back over time. There, I made another mistake because I was looking down here at that. I guess that works. And that sound effect we just heard fills in the foresight. And it didn't look like I got any less points for solving the puzzle there, so I may really just be holding myself to too high of a standard as far as trying to solve all the puzzles without foresight. Although, for puzzles like this, it is the ability to just kind of brute force it is always going to exist. Or cheat and look up walkthroughs is always going to exist. Where did these extra ones come from? These weren't here before, I swear. They feel like they get smaller the closer you get to them. Interesting. So do some puzzles unlock other kinds of puzzles? Looks like they do. Although that does make me a little concerned that there might be a case where some of these puzzles might be missing some of the spheres. And while you could solve a lot of these puzzles basically in any order, they give off pretty good hints as far as whether that's going to form a shape or not. And that one used a lot of spheres. I don't believe it's a case where these sky drop circles are being randomly generated. I think that would be really surprising if they figured out a way to program something like that. I could see it being handmade puzzles that then get reused and repeated. It would be fairly easy actually to have a few of these skydrop puzzles reappear after you've left an area. Let's see, find the hidden elements. They did, I think, do a decent job here of making a different kind of collectible to look for that is still visually similar to the other kinds of objects that we interact with while maintaining a uniqueness. Lesser game developers would have gotten lazy and just had you look for spheres like that, or spheres like that, or the cubes. So the wall cuts off here. Remember, we can leave the area and it doesn't do anything. Should go over and see if we can upgrade anything. We could get a charge jump. At the moment, I don't think getting a charge jump is worth it. I think it probably is wiser to just go ahead and hit this 1000. Although, when we hit level 6, this I assume is going to automatically unlock. Then we could get additional hints. I don't know if any of this matters though until you get to like level 21. Yeah, level 15. So I now understand what the flood paint button does. That makes solving grid puzzles easier. 600 here, 600 here would give me This doesn't give you extra rewards though, extra sparks. This just makes it easier to solve sky drops. This gives you extra sparks at level 12, so there's a thought to go that direction. Perfect bonus really is the next thing. Get this, then go here, get this, this, and this. And you almost certainly are going to end up doing more grids puzzles than anything else. And that might be a point for some people to potentially complain about if you aren't the biggest fan of the grid puzzles. There's probably going to be a lot of them. Okay. So, the Empyrean journey. Weighted rocks drift towards the azure canopy. You take a leap of trust and are untethered as the wind. Okay. So yeah, two options here. We could either wander around thinking that maybe there's something we missed over here, which we probably did. The map does kind of show that these paths are going to be the ones we're going to try and stay on, or would just naturally stay on. But I imagine I didn't miss too much over here. And so I think the move is to go over here into this enclave and figure out what that does. Quest objective, climb to the top of the mountain. Has been stopped, I guess, and now we have an objective of complete the Empyrean journey. Okay, well I missed one thing there. Look around on some sky drops. Guess the question is, could we look back and see the ring? I don't think so. I think we'll have to jump again. All of a sudden we have numbers Area numbers must equal the region sizes. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that has to be black. And then that, and that, and that. Easy enough. Particularly if you tell me the rule. I'm seeing a connecting thread. So I assume we have to solve all of these puzzles. And I'm assuming that this is just kind of a linear experience. It's kind of crazy to get a tutorial that says press space to jump. I'm still messing up those puzzles and not getting perfect solutions. It doesn't feel like that's the way. Well, there's an invisible ring here, so go here. Just get really close. And then that'll make that pretty easy. And it totally feels like you just need double jump. So this whole section gives off the feeling like this is supposed to be an easy little separate temple. So in case you run into any trouble and haven't been slowly getting better and better at solving the other puzzles, this could be a little booster station to get players that are struggling back on track. I guess we'll solve these in the order that they seem to be connected. Okay, 4 can go there, and then 1 can go there. And then we now have collected that insight. The slight concern I would have around puzzles like this, though, is that once it starts to become super linear, am I going to take too narrow of a view and stop looking for extra things to find? There are all kinds of puzzles around here. And we do have a counter telling us what to go to. Okay. Now we have yet another insight. It seems like we may end up just getting a lot of insights. If I jump here and then jump back, I can do that, but I think the game wants me to jump over here. What is the reason? That is the reason. how does one get back? You don't. Just fall and reset. That's fine. I guess it's fine. Doesn't seem like the game particularly cares to penalize. So this is just like a completely different puzzle? Or an extra puzzle? And what's special about this is the directions that you have to place things. Nice little audio feedback. And I'm still happy with the audio being kind of loud. I think the music here is doing a good job. Very often in puzzle games I'll find that there's a lack of any music, or it's very repetitive music. Okay, so again, just clicked the wrong thing. There's still a lot of hidden rings all over the place. See, that definitely looks like something, but I don't know if that's a skydrop puzzle like these. I don't think it is. I think those are just other other lands that may be unlocked. Come on. But close. I'm in just about the right spot. I need to... Maybe I just need to jump. Could this be a red herring? And something's wrong. I don't think it would light up if it was wrong. This is another great example of where an analog controller would be way more welcome in my book. Just seems like you're slightly off. Look how far you can be off and it will light up. That was interesting. It was very interesting. Eight, 9, 3. Well, 3 means it has to be here, which means that has to be that. That has to be all of that. Get to that. 9 can mean anything, but we do know that the 8 and the 5 can't mean anything. So that. Then 8 has to go here. Inherently, that has to be black. And that has to be black, and that has to go there, and that has to go here. When that goes that way, because it has to, that then blacks out all of that. Then that one, and then that one. That gives us 3 plus another 3 plus another 9. And then this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry about that. I guess it's been a long time since I've had to actually play with a keyboard. I'd assume these glowing ones don't line up with the others. Darn it. So there is a certain element to this also, that you respawn in specific spots. So falling off on the edge is not completely painless as an experience. But yeah, particularly in this area, it is not going to be a big deal. I imagine there might have been a early version of this game where you would have not been able to jump or run. Start with that. This 16 implies to me that, oh, we can't make that pattern. Was it? I didn't even see that. Okay. This is going to be a challenge. So basically, that's the only way you can make a 6. And that just lays all of that in that direction. Which means that has to go here, which means that has to go here, which means that has to go here, that has to go here. So how do we get a 3? Do diagonals count? Nope. So yeah, there's a thought here that these diagonals in this point and this point wouldn't count. If that's the case, then we have to take that same thought and say that that wouldn't count. In that case, I don't know how you could have possibly not made a mistake. And certainly that is a new insight, even if it's not labeled as an insight, that diagonals don't count, do count. I don't want to also suspect I'm just missing a lot. Right. Forward and jump and land just to save some time. Some more puzzles over here. Okay. Gotta separate things. Which means that has to be there. Okay. And so, I assume this. We can't also make any full black boxes, so when I fill in this whole thing, that's going to play a role too. But if I just focus on these requirements to start with, I think we'll get to that point anyways. So that has to be there. That has to be there. That has to be there. This could go here. Or here. 6 could just be white pieces. The only thing I guess would be weird is if, is it a mistake? And let's just test this as a thought to do something like that. And then to do something like that. Is that a problem? It will be a problem for other reasons, but yeah. It doesn't seem like it's a problem for basic reasons. Okay. Hit this and this and that. And maybe just throw one in here. That way we can avoid doing any 2x2s of black spots there. And then that would... Don't make this pattern. Oh no, I've got to connect all dark cells. Okay. Okay, that's going to be more difficult. That tells me something very different. Okay. All dark cells must be connected. Not all white cells need to be connected. So we can do that. Get that point. And then It's still a problem though. All of these here have to be connected, so that has to be there. This 3 has to go here. These have to go that way. Well, I've got everything here except for the 6. Is there some possible way to not end up with this pattern in here? I don't see it. Which means that has to be there. Which means that has to be black. Which just means I needed to do that. Alright, well this is getting more complicated, but perhaps not really much more challenging. I think that is that. Yep. Some of these glowing spheres do seem like they just stay around for a very long time. Is there possibly a bigger reason for that? We've never ridden one of these horizontal or more horizontal teleporters. I assume it is just going to send me horizontally. This is back to being more simple. Yep. So the purple ones are extra. Is there any possible way that doesn't connect that way? I don't see a way. Is there any possible way that doesn't connect that way? No, don't think so. I may not need that. And then this has to be separated. Could do that. That would get us there. And then that gets us there, that gets us there, that gets us there. So yeah, it seems like if we just spend a little bit of extra time in this enclave, which seems like it's just kind of a more linear, more separated out section. Did I click on that box? Guess it's just totally worth it to double check. None of those can be it, which means this has to go that way. Yeah. It could go this way. One. Let's see, connecting all the black dots. That will also plays a role on this, doesn't it? Means that has to be encircled. And that probably has to connect there. Also means this. You're effectively going to need this to loop in some way that direction. So if we did just that. Okay. Can't go down and do that. Would do that, but then that would block off that. So how do we do this? The 4 here can't go this way. Could go this way one way. Then it would block off that, or it could go, it would block off that. What if we, nope. We need the separation here. That was step 1. I guess that works. And yes, this is very much just a variant Sudoku-like experience. There definitely are variations of Sudoku that have this feel and have this kind of challenge. 4, 5. These puzzles could get a little too long, but I kind of have some faith that we won't run into too many of them that are too long. Because, of course, complaints here could be very abundant as far as too long, too short. I imagine there are some people that are going to think that the puzzles are too easy, where the other possibilities, a lot of players are going to think that the puzzles are too hard or too time consuming at least. Yep, a happy medium. The Q buttons. Would probably wish to remap that. Yeah, it's probably going to be just about perfect if we can get half the players to complain that it's too long and half the players to complain it's too short. We're unlikely to make everybody happy. I see an invisible ring, I can't reach it. And since that one was on the path, that was way easier than the side ones. Still a lot going on here. So these orbs, I don't think I found a pattern around them. Are they glowing because I'm too close? Or are they going because I'm not close enough? Or is glowing a good thing? Alright. I feel like in this case, space is going to be at a premium. And so you're going to end up having to squeeze every free spot available. Do we have enough to upgrade here? No, we're still only at 800. We could upgrade to get a super jump, which might help us getting to that ring. Then we would have to wait 5 minutes before we could reach. We could try again. Or, you know, you could just fall and try your double jump. Yeah. Now, notice when you're away from here, it's all these little cubes popping in and out. Where it looks more like it should just be a well. So I think the move is to jump forward, double jump, and then push forward most of the time. See how it like fixes itself for a second there? Which ring am I not hitting? A lot of these puzzles are just the same thing over and over again, though. Those two have to be separate. Those two have to be separate. This 7 screams to me like it would potentially connect to this. If that's the case, this has to be separate, and this has to be separate anyways. Okay. 4 can't connect to this, so it has to be that. If this goes here and this goes here, that connects, making that, and that necessary. That has to go there. That has to go there. So we have a new insight: don't overload areas. And we're at level 6 already. Complete the chain of logic grids to earn your wings. There are 2 more puzzles that need to be done, but there are several more hidden rings, 2 more armillary rings, which I believe are these, and 12, and 5 more additional logic gates. And so there's just more to do. I could solve 1 more puzzle, but I think I am happy to just end this episode here. Is it going to end up with me going all the way over to this section? Well, it is lit up but then there are also some islands over here that are lit up also. And maybe it even means I'm going all the way to this section, so it might actually be quite a lot. We started over here, and we've done everything in that area. It definitely feels like it's something where I should just take it fairly easy. We, for the Verdant Glen perspective, have apparently unlocked some things. I didn't realize that was how we would be collecting and unlocking things. There is a whole menu issue here. Comparing this to, say, the Talos Principle, which had, I don't think, anything you really did in the menu, with the slight exception of the case that you... So I haven't been collecting any of this, have I? Ooh. So I just bought all those things. Maybe that was a mistake. But maybe not. Yeah, the Talos Principle, outside of reading text on terminals, really never had you go into a menu and never had these RPG elements that you would not really expect in a puzzle game. Yeah, I think that was probably fine to click on all of those. There's just a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of stuff to unlock in the first few hours. And this tells us, particularly for grid rules, how many grid rules we're going to run into throughout the entire game. And we apparently have missed several insights as far as grid rules, or insights possibly about something else, but I suspect it is just going to be insights about grid rules, which does certainly push me to the thought that the number of grid puzzles in this game are going to be very high. And we've also missed a lot of notes, which, yeah, maybe I am moving a little too fast on the dialogue notes, or maybe it is a case where you're supposed to collect them out of order. We haven't found any echoes of time. We haven't found any mysteries. And as far as customization and buying items, I wouldn't want to do any of that. If we scroll outward, in the past hour and a half, we made a little bit of progress here, and a decent amount of progress here. When I exit here, it's going to give me a mirror bliss. Yeah, okay, well, another hour and a half, another decent amount of progress. There is certainly an issue here that even though there is quite a bit of variety in the different types of puzzles, you are just doing puzzles. Whereas a AAA shooter might give you an occasional puzzle as some falling action amongst a whole bunch of rising action. Puzzles are the rising action in a puzzle game, so we need some kind of falling action. And I'm not sure what it really could be. Clearly, the Aurora's lore they're writing is not going to be very in-depth. And I could see a fan mod just writing a much longer story, and I would appreciate if there was a longer story modded into this game or updated into this game that would be voice acted. I don't think making cutscenes for a puzzle game makes a lot of sense, but it would be a way to just have the player put the mouse and keyboard down for a second, let their fingers rest. Murals on the wall telling a story would probably be the best way to implement something like that. Otherwise, I don't know. Like, it'd be kind of crazy to add a fighting mechanic, but that's almost what this would need, is that you would have some kind of fighting mechanic where you fight something small creatures that like try to hurt you, rats equivalents or something like that, and that wouldn't make a lot of sense either. None of these puzzles are so drastically different, though, that any of it feels like it's a breeze or a breather point where you can just take a break. And playing it in an MMO really is going to push you to keep on grinding and keep on going forward, whereas solo mode at least lets you pause the game and take a break whenever you want. You could make puzzles that involved shifting the environment more and possibly squashing you in between moving walls and things like that. More dangerous type platforming puzzles. That might be one way to do something slightly different. Otherwise, you would have to make something completely different, like a fishing minigame or a cooking minigame, which for an MMO, it wouldn't be crazy to add something like that, but it is fairly crazy to add it to a puzzle game. Anyways, I could speculate further, but let's just end this episode. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.